Is our worship glorifying God or is it glorifying us? Because at the end of the day, I think that we've gotten it wrong so much that there's gonna come a point where people are just gonna plain down get sick of it. The whole we talk about ourselves, we sing about ourselves, everything is from a place of emotion. Nothing actually moves, not the atmosphere, not your situation, not your sickness, nothing. And I really think that it's time for us to come up with authentic worship. And sometimes if that's not happening in the atmosphere that you're currently in, or when you go to church, if that's not happening there, remember that you're not limited to just church. Remember that you have a big community of believers, that we need to be a part of. And I think that's missing in the whole spectrum of things. The whole every church is all about their own agenda, and I think it's one of the reasons why we don't see as many crusades as we used to. Like, I used to see so many crusades growing up, and now, well, especially in my area, I hardly see these things. And I think that we can all agree that there's been such a deficiency for such a long time. And the whole concept of tell your neighbor to come to church kind of a thing. Listen, I don't see that blueprint in the Bible anywhere. So somebody needs to point me in the direction as to where that is. So we can all agree that there's a deficiency, right? And I think that we've been having this conversation for a long time. And, one thing I'd like to see more of is actually more podcasts addressing this, especially in the spectrum of worship and church and the deficiencies we see in the body, right? And, we can all agree it's become so me focused and so church focused, and it's not kingdom focused. And essentially, as we gravitate towards the end of days, as we gravitate towards the coming of Jesus Christ, um the idea of kingdom is going to have to be something that we become more comfortable with, and that we eventually gravitate more towards, because we can't go on with this concept of it's my church against another church, and this is just nonsense, really. I believe that in this hour, God is requiring so much more out of us, and it's going to require literally the true worshippers to arise. It's no longer the fake worship. It's no longer let's amp people up, let's make a noise for nothing. And I'm saying this also because I was listening to one of a really interesting podcast as well. um I think it was Pastor Allen from Encounter Church in Centurion, I think it is. But he did such a great podcast by putting all of this together, really. And in my small way, I kind of just want to bring attention to it as well, because we constantly live in a space where we're too self-focused, and we are going to church and we are doing our own thing, and nobody is getting the full healing or the full experience. And my concern is that we're coming up on a time where there will be a harvest and there will be new believers that come in. And is that what we're going to show them? Is that what the kingdom is about? A bunch of fake worship, a bunch of feelings, a bunch of emotion, and no real power. And I really believe that this is the time, or rather this is the era, where true worshippers are going to arise, and it's going to look messy. And I'm writing a book at the moment about this whole thing, and it's really been tough. There's a whole lot of spiritual warfare that you can encounter when you're doing something for the kingdom, and it's been one thing after the next, but I'm so determined to get this book out. And it talks so much about the kingdom, the now, the new breed of kingdom that's coming about, and the people that are, or the believers that are not going to sit back and go, this is fine, and I'm satisfied with this mundane, weak, lethargic, malnourished worship that we give God. I feel like people are going to get into a little bit of a, how you get a civil war? I think that it's going to be kind of like this breakout, or this disturbance, or this interruption to what we've become accustomed with, what we've become comfortable with, because I'm not satisfied with it. And I'm not just talking about like a specific church, I'm talking about the whole body of Christ. We are not doing what we should be doing. We're too self-focused, and it's just we're digging a hole for ourselves, really. And we need to prepare because there is a harvest coming. And remember that when the Bible talks about these seasons also of harvesting, of where, when God is about to do something so beautiful and so rich and so filled with his glory, there's always multiplication attached to it, there's always prosperity attached to it. So there'll be a harvest of souls, and at the same time, I do believe there'll also be resources coming into the kingdom. And the concern is, what are we going to do with those resources when they come in? Are we going to feed it back into this fake worship, this fake lights and smoke and stuff that really doesn't matter? Or are we going to fund the real kingdom agenda? And that's my concern, and that's where I, well, in every way that I can, want to assist the kingdom in every way that I can. And for some of you, maybe you have things to say, maybe you have stuff on your heart, maybe you have a word for the body of Christ. And um I just want to encourage you that now is the time to speak up, now is the time to use your platform, now is the time to um give the body what it needs, because I believe it's also a time of exposure. It's a time where, the people who have been forwarding their own agendas are going to fall away. And it's going to be time for the people who are the true worshippers, the people who have been seeing things for what they really are, the people who are, so aligned with the heart of God. They are the ones that are going to come up to the forefront, and they're going to be at the forefront helping the body of Christ to achieve all that we must and need to build at this time. And we have to come out of being so self-absorbed and go into a space where we are fully devoted, and we are fully sold out for Jesus, and we are fully surrendered to what he wants to do. Because I really believe what he wants to do is going to look so different. It's not going to look like anything he's done before, and it will look messy. The kingdom is messy. The kingdom is not, it's all nice and refined. No, it's read the Bible, read the book of Acts if you need a refreshing. Read the book of Acts. We need to go back to that, because we don't look like the Acts church at all. We look like we're going further and further and further away from it. So I just want to encourage you, like, get mad. Pray about this. Ask God about, what do we do in this time? How do we prepare ourselves? Where are we going wrong in our personal walk? Where are we deficient in our walk? Sometimes when you're under leadership and there's stuff that's not right, or there's it's quite lukewarm, that can feed into your walk with God as well. So sometimes you really need to check yourself, and you need to also bring your leadership into prayer as well, because they need the prayer. And I promise you, God is going to come alongside you, and he's going to guide you and give you the picture, and then give your church and the leadership the picture, and help us to come together as a kingdom. But we really, really need to uphold each other in prayer right now, because a lot is going on. And we can't go on the way that we're going. We can't go on in this wayward, all about me, myself, and I. We need to start focusing on the kingdom. We need to start coming together as a kingdom, and not as it's this church versus this church. It's more so we're one big body. Listen, and the head is coming soon, which is Jesus Christ. So I just wanted to encourage you with that, and pray into that. Pray for your household, pray for your leadership, pray for your churches, because we need to get it together.